Welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. This is Stacy Royster, executive producer, and I'm delighted to serve as your guest host today as our fabulous host, Attorney Ethel Mitchell, takes a much-needed break today. Welcome to all who are listening live throughout the world on Radio 1 Station 1450 AM, WOLDC.com, and LawTalkWithEthelMitchell.com, and over the free TuneIn app. We have a great program for you today. Our guest is Attorney Keith Watters, personal injury law expert. We'll be discussing everything you need to know about dealing with personal injuries from a legal perspective. So listen and learn. This program is brought to you by Ethel Mitchell's talented law office, Wills and Trusts, LLC, where she prepares wills, trusts, power of attorneys, and advanced medical directives. If you or someone you know needs a will or trust or assistance administering an estate, call Attorney Ethel Mitchell at 202-772-1988. That's 202-772-1988. Her show, Law Talk, is also brought to you by Equity Resources of 10 G Street, Northeast D.C. at 202-621-6632. If you want to sell your home, Equity Resources will buy your home quickly and for cash. If you have a home to sell or any property in the metropolitan area, call Equity Resources at 202-621-6632. So as Ethel reminds us each week, the law is certainly powerful. It can help you or it can hurt you. It impacts literally everything you do. What you don't know can hurt you, and what you do know can certainly empower you. So each week, Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell aims to empower you by bringing you professionals and experts who know the law and who know how to use the law to enlighten you and to empower you. All of our programs are archived on LawTalkWithEthelMitchell.com. So if you missed a program, go there, and the programs are posted by the webmaster, Mr. Earl Hooks, within 72 hours of airing. So we want you to be a part of the conversation. We want to hear all of your comments or questions. Call us at 1-800-450-7876. That's 1-800-450-7876. Or you can tweet us at LawTalkEM. First, I must remind you, what you hear on the show is for information purposes only. No attorney-client relationship is established by anything said on the show. Each person's circumstances are different. You must seek individual counsel for any situation for which you need legal advice. Let's get started. Accidents and incidents cause death and injury on a daily basis, from medically related actions or inactions to car or truck collisions, slip and falls, or business establishments falls, so they don't have to be always in a public space. We all need to know what to do and when to do it. So today's expert, Attorney Keith Watters, is uniquely qualified to advise you regarding about what you should do and to help you to know what you should do if you're in an accident or injured due to the fault of someone else. He's going to provide some insights about personal injury law. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Attorney Keith Watters. He is a scholarship recipient, graduated with honors from Ithaca College in 1976. He attended Georgetown University Law School. He founded his own practice in 1980, representing indigent criminal defendants in the Superior Court for the District of Columbia. He has tried dozens of minor and major criminal cases to verdict. In 1986, he shifted his practice to the representation of personal injury clients. Mr. Watters has devoted himself to the community and the legal profession. He was elected president of the Washington Bar Association in 1988, the National Bar Association in 1996, and the Bar Association of the District of Columbia in 2006. He has represented his members at the White House, the Supreme Court, Congress, the City Council, the Office of the U.S. Attorney General, and many other entities. He has testified on many occasions to preserve the University of the District of Columbia's David Clark School of Law, the preservation of the right to a jury trial for injury victims, and to modify the restrictive D.C. no-fault law. In 1997, he led an 80-member delegation from the National Bar Association to Africa to discuss the rule of law and the emerging democracy of Ghana. That same year, he conferred a conference on online racism, which exposed activities of white supremacy groups on the new medium called the Internet. He has received recognition for his years of service to the community with awards from the National Association of Black Women Attorneys, the Washington Bar Association, the Bar Association of the District of Columbia, and over 11 presidential awards from the National Bar Association. So I will tell you more about his background shortly, but Mr. Watters is married to Patricia Ann Watters, who is in practice with him. They are the proud parents of Catherine and Michael and Ryan. And this past year, he was honored as a finalist for the Father of the Year by the National Center for Fathering. Welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell, Attorney Watters.
Stacey, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's my pleasure to be here, and I hope that I can give some knowledge to your listeners.
Absolutely. I must disclose I've known Attorney Watters since I was probably in college, and so he is very, as we said, uniquely qualified, and we were very pleased to have you. So, Keith, please let our listeners know, what kind of cases do you typically handle at your firm?
Well, we handle a wide variety of cases. This is, as you noted, this is our 34th year. I'd like to emphasize that a lot of people have a case and don't even know it. Obviously, if you get in a car accident, you know that if you've been injured, you should call a lawyer for help. But there's a whole wide range of cases that don't even occur to people. We represent people who are criminal victims. So if a person, unfortunately, has been assaulted or raped or robbed or mugged at a place of business or sometimes even in their residence, they often have a security negligence claim. And those are the types of cases people don't even know that there could possibly be a claim. So it's very important if you've been an injury victim, even when you don't know that you have a claim, to consult a lawyer. If you look in the Yellow Pages or the Internet, you'll see dozens and dozens of ads where people can call in and speak to a lawyer and not be charged for an initial consultation. And the wonder of the personal injury system is that most lawyers will take a case, once they decide to take a case, and not charge you any legal fees up front. This is called a contingent fee agreement. It's a wonderful device. It's somewhat unique to the United States, whereby a percentage of the recovery, only if you win, will go to a legal fee. Obviously, this is an incentive for people to sign up and be retained by a lawyer, but it's also an incentive to the lawyer to make sure that the case is worthy of pursuing. I mentioned criminal victims, but there's a wide variety of slip and fall cases, sometimes in public streets, sometimes even in residence, sometimes in hotels. People, if they get injured, and believe me, especially elderly people, when they slip and fall, you can hurt yourself quite severely. We've done a number of cases even this year where we've gotten over $100,000 per victim for a slip and fall, which is kind of unusual.
Are slip and falls usually the most common types of personal injury cases?
I would say auto accidents are the most common types. People are often in auto accidents, sometimes minor, sometimes major. And one of the big mistakes people do, and particularly in slip and falls and in auto accidents, they will go and speak to an insurance adjuster before they speak to a lawyer. The insurance adjuster has the interest of their insured and the insurance company. They're not necessarily there to protect your interests.
You raise a good point, Attorney Watters. When should you call an attorney if you think you have a case?
As soon as you think you have a case, and even if you don't think you have a case. If you've been injured in a car accident, if you've been injured by slip and fall, if you've been assaulted, if you've been injured by a product, if you've gotten bad food even, food poisoning cases, if you've been falsely accused by the police and detained and even arrested or assaulted, you should call the police officer We do police assault cases. Unfortunately, there are times when, the police get a little carried away, as we've been reading in the news. Fortunately, it doesn't happen to that degree here in the District of Columbia as elsewhere, but sometimes the police will arrest the wrong person, and in that process, sometimes they'll even assault the person. Those are claims that need to be reported and talk to a lawyer immediately. And especially when you have a claim against a government entity, there's often a limitation on time when you have to report and make your claim. For example, you only have 6 months to notify the District of Columbia's mayor's office or the Office of Risk Management that you have a claim. It has to be in writing, too, and you should get a receipt for it. These are things that a lawyer knows to do, and it can be very tricky. For example, if you're in public housing in the District of Columbia, it's not the Office of the Mayor, it's the Office of Housing Finance. So it can get very, very tricky. The limitation, if you want to make a claim, that you have to notify the various entities within strict timelines. It's the same true for local governments and the federal government. You have to be aware of this. And you as a layperson are not going to be aware of this. And that's where a lawyer comes in.
Very important. Attorney Watters, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
1450 WOL, where information is power.
These days, everybody's looking for ways to make healthier choices. That's why Walmart's having a special event today at participating stores called Your Passport to Healthier Living. They have free blood pressure and glucose screenings and low-cost immunizations, which may be covered by your insurance. Plus, they have in-store demos of products and foods for healthier living. Visit walmart.com/healthcare to see participating stores in your area and get your passport to healthier living today. At Walmart, healthcare begins here.
Progressive presents Flo's newest smash hit. The Name Your Price tool gives you lots of coverage options.
The Name Your Price tool. You give us a budget and we'll show you a range of coverage options. But we can't go over all the dessert options. Your server will be back in just a second and he'll explain.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
McGruff here.
The crime dog?
Yep.
I think I'm gonna need your help. I've got an internet bully.
Okay, well, what you do is...
Maybe you could put a virus on her computer. Or a tracking device. Or a bug.
You don't have to do that,
Or maybe we could get an attack dog. You ever see those attack dogs that can, rip a person's arm off? Seriously. Or like a SWAT team. A cyber SWAT team or something. Or like an army. Did you ever see that zombie army movie? We should get a zombie army.
Wait. All you need to do to stop an internet bully is delete their messages and never forward them on.
So, no zombies?
No zombies.
Bummer.
Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it, don't forward it. For more information, visit ncpc.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Owning and caring for a home comes with a lot of to-dos. Tune up the furnace, clean the gutters, remodel the kitchen. Whatever your home improvement need, Home Advisor can help you find a pro you can trust to get the job done right. Go to fixitfast.homeadvisor.com for instant access to top-rated pros in your area, including electricians, handymen, plumbers, whatever type of home pro you need. And Home Advisor's absolutely free to use. At Home Advisor, you don't have to search through a long list of pros. With just a few clicks, Home Advisor matches you with pros who provide the exact services you need. You can read customer reviews of the pros, even use the cost guide to find out what hundreds of other home projects cost in your area. And because Home Advisor knows it's important to find a pro you can trust in your home, they conduct background checks on their service professionals. It's just one of the reasons more than 25 million homeowners have used Home Advisor. Go to fixitfast.homeadvisor.com to find the right pro for your project. That's fixitfast.homeadvisor.com.
Hi, my name is Stanley, and I've been arrested for stealing shoes. I didn't really steal them, but I've been sent to Camp Green Lake anyway. The worst punishment a kid could get. And at Camp Green Lake, we dig holes. Lots of holes. I've only been here a short time, but I think the camp director is up to something. I'm Stanley Yelnats, and I'm covering more than dirt at Camp Green Lake. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Holes by Louis Sacker. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Of Life.org. News Talk 1450 WOL-AM, where information is power.
Welcome back. This is Stacey Royster. I was about to say this is Attorney Ethel Mitchell. This is Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell, and I am your guest host for today, Stacey Royster. We are talking with personal injury expert, Attorney Keith Watters. You may reach him by calling his law office at 202-887-1990. His firm's website is www.keithwatters, that's 2 T's in Waters, and associates.com. Keith, welcome back.
Yes.
Okay.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So we were talking about, when the right time is to call an attorney, and you said immediately. Let's give some clarity on what you mean by immediately. Is that, an hour after something happens? Is it tomorrow morning?
As soon as practicable. I mean, wouldn't expect you to call me from the emergency room, although some clients do that because they want to get the assurance that someone is looking out for them immediately. Obviously, you may be needing to attend to something, an emergency, but, I've had clients call me from accident scenes, and where I advise them to cooperate with the police, and they go get medical attention. Now, you don't always get to reach a lawyer that fast, so I think it's important if you can go home, collect yourself the next day, but not everybody thinks to call or can reach a lawyer at an accident scene. So it's important to get the names and addresses of witnesses, take photos, so that, if we have to fight for you, and sometimes people don't always tell the truth, that we can prevail on your side. So I think it's important that you do it certainly within 24 hours. But I've had people call me months later after they've started talking to insurance companies and have really made statements that hurt their case, and then I have to go in and try to fix it. A lot of people are trusting, and when they hear a friendly voice on the phone, an insurance adjuster who's taking a statement, you should really not give a statement until you talk to a lawyer. That way, you know your rights, and you can make an informed decision on how you want to proceed. You notice the insurance companies, they'll call you often within 24 hours. So they understand the importance of immediacy. But as a general rule, I would rather my clients, and I would advise everybody, to call a lawyer, talk to a lawyer first if you can reach one, before you make any statements to anyone.
Great. And you mentioned a couple other key things, taking pictures and getting police officers' names. What are some other things that people should do immediately after an automobile accident that they might not be thinking about?
Typically, when you have an accident that's in those public domain, such as the street or in a store, in a slip and fall, there'll be witnesses in the area. So today, with the advent of cell phones, almost everybody has a camera. We didn't have that 34 years ago when I started practicing. Very rare to have anybody a camera. Now you may just want to take a few pictures of the surrounding area. If there's a slip and fall, if there's a spill, or some dangerous condition, such as a hole without a sign, or a projectile, something sticking up to make you trip, you may just want to take a picture of that. Also, lots of times there'll be one or two or three people around. Get their names, get their telephone numbers. People are very often willing to cooperate. Now, I've had cases, right now I'm working on a case, that the client was smart enough to get the lady's name who saw her take a very bad fall and break her wrist. And the lady was very helpful, and she gave a statement to the insurance company. Because we had that statement, we were able to prevail in establishing liability in the case. Because folks need to know that it's not just the fact that an accident happens. you don't get compensation just because an accident happens. You have to show that the other side was negligent, i.e., that is, did they do something incorrectly? Did they know of a spill on the floor and didn't fix it? Did they know of a dangerous condition and didn't warn anybody? Did the driver negligently go through a red light? Particularly when you get these intersection collision cases, it's important to get witnesses. Sometimes people think they have the light and don't even realize they didn't have the light. Mm-hmm. You know, they could be talking on a cell phone or something like that, and it can lead to serious injury. So it's very, very important. Now, obviously, if you're incapacitated, you can't be doing a lot of this. So that's when you call the police, and you should call the police on any serious accident, especially with his injury, and it's their job to get the witnesses' names and numbers. Sometimes the police do a very good job at this. Sometimes they don't do such a good job at this. If there's a friend nearby and you're incapacitated, ask them to get witnesses' names. Sometimes the facts speak for themselves, and people will admit when they're wrong sometimes. That's always refreshing when someone does something incorrect. Well, I have insurance. Let them take care of it. If I made a mistake, I'll just admit it and go forward with that.
It is quite shocking. I remember a couple years ago, someone rear-ended my car, and I was quite shocked when she said to the police officer who responded to the scene that she was removing her shoes while driving. And so that was right on the police report. And so, that was, quite easy in terms of, me proving anything. She said it. So I'm quite shocked by that.
Well, there's a lot of decent people who admit their wrongdoing. But there are some people who want to be sneaky and try to get away with things. And that's when we have more difficulty prevailing for our client. And that's when witnesses come into play. I had a case just this week where the ceiling of a lady's house, a rental apartment, collapsed on her. And the insurance company said, well, she never told the landlord that it was collapsing. Well, she had pictures of it at different stages before it collapsed, when it first started to come down, and pictures when it came down afterwards. And so I told the insurance adjuster, well, if this was your house, would you not say something if you had a picture of it beginning to collapse? You would just take it? But obviously nobody wants their ceiling to collapse in their kitchen with all that mess. Often the truth will prevail, but obviously that's why you need a lawyer to make sure that your rights are protected. We haven't really talked about medical malpractice, which is a big concern for a lot of people. There are situations when people go into hospitals and the hospital makes a mistake. And if the hospital makes a mistake, the doctor, the nurse, or the pharmacy technician, it can have very, very serious consequences, including death. This is something that happens all too frequently, and sometimes people don't even realize that a serious injury was due to medical negligence. So it doesn't really hurt to at least get a consultation. Most lawyers, personal injury in this city, will talk to you over the phone free of charge to see if, at least to screen your case, to see if you have something that's worth pursuing, and give you some informal advice. So if you get into a situation where you've been injured by a faulty product in the hospital, slip and fall, auto accident, sometimes even other modes of transportation, boats, planes, you'd be surprised the wide variety of the ways people get injured. I'm amazed the number of calls I get with just different situations. A bunch of people were in a beauty parlor not long ago up in Rockville, and carbon monoxide was seeping into the beauty parlor because people were doing work on the roof. And it was just amazing that that type of thing could happen today. You're in a commercial establishment and carbon monoxide seeping in.
Oh, my. Well, you're hearing it all right here from personal injury attorney Keith Watters. You can call him directly in his law office at 202-887-1990. His law firm's website is www.keithwatters, that's 2 T's, and associates.com. If you have questions for Attorney Watters during our show today, please call us at 1-800-450-7876. Attorney Watters, you're giving some great information, a lot of do's and don'ts. And what are some other tips? We talked a lot about what people should do. What are things that you shouldn't be doing if you are injured due to the fall of someone? We're going to take a quick break, but I want you to answer that question when we come right back.
Thank you. Yeah.
1450 WOL, where information is power.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
When I walk into Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm not just a customer.
I'm a fan.
And in this house, fans rule.
This is our stadium.
Our locker room.
Our dugout.
Our sports drinks are served on tap. And our pregame meal is
hand-spun wings.
In victory or in defeat, we never leave hungry.
Because in this house, we are the MVPs.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Visit BuffaloWildWings.com to find the location nearest you.
And now, the official fan rules of Buffalo Wild Wings. Rule number 15. When your team's QB tries to quiet the crowd, be quiet. Rule number 20. Popularity isn't a reason to support a team, except maybe with sauces. Rule number 38. Your team is greater than your fantasy team. Root accordingly. Rule number 62. Rival football fans can share a beer after the game, but loser always buys. With over 20 beers on tap, your winning round is waiting at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children. Visit stjude.org.
Owning and caring for a home comes with a lot of to-dos. Tune up the furnace, clean the gutters, remodel the bathroom. Whatever your home improvement need, Home Advisor can help you find a pro you can trust to get the job done right. Go to fixitfast.homeadvisor.com for instant access to top-rated pros in your area. And Home Advisor's absolutely free to use. You can read customer reviews of the pros. Even use the cost guide to find out what hundreds of other home projects cost in your area. Go to fixitfast.homeadvisor.com to find the right pro for your project.
HelloBeautiful.com is the website for today's black woman.
Whether you follow the power moves of Michelle Obama and Oprah,
or just want to keep up with the Braxtons and Basketball Wives.
Whether you need some help with your outfit,
or if you want to clown on someone else's.
Hello Beautiful is helpful hints and guilty pleasures.
Hello Beautiful keeps you connected and gives you a break.
For every part of you, HelloBeautiful.com.
Life insurance companies are praying you don't learn about the little-known but painfully obvious secret of how to win the game of life insurance so that you win and the insurance companies lose money on your policy. I'll share the secret with you even if you don't buy your policy from me. I'm Byron Udell of AccuQuote, and since 1986, we've helped millions of people save a fortune on their life insurance. Call AccuQuote today at 800-500-3353 and ask about the secret. That's 800-500-3353.
News1.com is breaking news for Black America. News1.com tells the stories we care about, our community, our concerns, our world. Uncensored, unapologetic. News One is news from our perspective. One people, one voice. News1.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
For free inventors information, call 1-800-497-9975. 1-800-497-9975. That's 1-800-497-9975.
A few things that come to mind. First, you shouldn't be your own lawyer. A lot of people will read something on the internet and feel that they are qualified to then do it themselves. Inevitably, and more times than not, they will mess the case up and then go see a lawyer. And so, don't be your own lawyer. Number two, in the same vein, don't second-guess your lawyer by talking to your friends. Everybody has an opinion. Every case is different. And they may have had a case that's completely different, yet they're giving you legal advice and you're taking it. If you don't agree with the legal advice you're getting from that lawyer, you should get another opinion from another lawyer, such as with a medical opinion. If your doctor said you needed an operation and you disagreed, you should go talk to another doctor and see if they agree. That way you're getting informed advice. So those are two things that come to mind immediately, what you shouldn't do. Also, in a context, don't try to treat yourself. If you're injured, don't be your own doctor saying, well, I'll just soak myself in the tub or give myself some aspirin. It's important to document the injury. Very often people will be in an accident and wait a month or two because they don't have medical insurance or because they think it's going to go away, the problem, and then the problem doesn't go away, but it was never documented when it happened. So the question becomes, well, did something else happen to you? Well, if it was so serious, why didn't you get medical attention? So that's another thing that you should do. Don't be your own doctor. Get yourself seen at an emergency room or in a physician's office or urgent care center, someplace to document the nature and extent of your injuries. So those are three things. Don't be your own doctor. Don't be your own lawyer. And friends, you can obviously talk to friends and spouses, but if you want an informed opinion, you wouldn't ask your spouse how to fix a toilet. But don't ask them how to do the legal case. Most people will tell you, get this advice from someone who knows how to do that. And if you don't like the advice you're getting from your lawyer, then go seek out another opinion. It's very simple. Those are three things that come to mind immediately. I probably can think some more as we go along.
Those are very critical. And Attorney Watters, we will certainly provide any additional information on our show's Facebook page and website and Twitter. So as you think of things that you'd like to share in addition to what you've shared today, please let us know. Let's move on to helping our listeners understand, what helps to determine if you have a good case, and talk to us a little bit about, money. A lot of times people want to know, I've been hurt, how much is this worth? Talk to us a little bit.
Those are very good questions, Stacy. The lawyer's job, when you first call him, the first thing I'm going to focus on, the nature and extent of your injury. That determines the damages in the case, because if you just have a minor cut, it's not that serious, so you're not going to get much money damages. But if you come in and call me up and say you've had some fractured bones or broke some bones, I'm going to immediately think that this is a much more serious accident, which is going to demand a lot more serious amount of money to compensate you for your pain and suffering, very often your inconvenience, your embarrassment, your loss of use of that bodily function, or what we say, you couldn't do your usual and customary activities, which can mean loss of work, wages. So all these elements go into the analysis of what is a good case. And speaking of wages, very often we can get loans for people who can't work while their case is pending. And this is very important, is because of somebody's money supply, they can't pay their bills. So in the District of Columbia, lawyers are allowed to lend their clients money and on an emergency basis, and there are lending companies that will lend it. I don't recommend a loan because the interest rates are so high, but there are times when people have no choice but to try to get a loan to keep a roof over their head. So I'm looking at two main things when a client calls me. One, was somebody else negligent? Was the accident or the injury the result of something somebody should or should not have done or should have done and didn't do? If I can establish that I believe that somebody else is at fault, that is one of the first steps. Concurrently, we're looking at, the clients want to know very often, how much is my case worth? Well, if it's a major injury, it's going to be worth major money. But if it's not, then it's not going to be worth. Very often we don't know the nature and extent of the injury on a phone call until we get some initial medical reports back from the medical doctors, which will indicate the nature and extent of the injury. Everybody wants to know, hey, what's it worth? What's it worth? I can't tell you what it's going to be worth until I see what your medical treatment is necessary for you to get better. If you have scarring, I can tell you it's going to be major. If you have broken bones, it's going to be a major case. If there's loss of a limb or loss of life or bodily function, it's a major case. And those are the kind of things that obviously people should not do themselves. People will often say, well, why should I pay a lawyer's fee? Why should I pay a lawyer? I'm going to try to do this myself. What happens is the insurance companies realize when you don't have a lawyer, they realize you don't have to pay an insurance fee, a legal fee, and they can lowball you or make a very low offer, and you probably, many cases, come out to the same place, if not worse, than if you had a lawyer. So the reason why most people go to a lawyer is because they don't want to try to take the chance of doing it themselves and messing it up. But people are funny because, people think, well, maybe I can try and get away with it without a lawyer, and inevitably, more times than not, it doesn't work out. But you should always call a lawyer. And I say this, and people know they should do it, but people, for a variety of reasons, don't always do it. That's why I keep getting back to the same thing. I hope I don't sound like a broken record to everybody.
No, it's very important, and we all need these reminders, and that's why shows like this are so important. We have to do better knowing what our rights are, how to get in touch with lawyers, have a relationship with a lawyer if possible, even before something happens.
Especially here in Washington, D.C., where there's probably more lawyers per capita than any place in the United States. Last I checked, there were over 100,000 members of the D.C. Bar. Not all of them live here. Not all of them practice in the community like I do. But there are plenty of lawyers. If you can't find a lawyer in D.C. for a personal injury case, you're not really trying very hard. The Internet, there's referrals from friends, there's yellow pages where I advertise a lot. It's really rather easy to find a personal injury lawyer to help you. So don't be intimidated. Pick up the phone. You don't have to always, you can often just make the call over the phone. The lawyer will give you the advice, ask you to come in, or sometimes the lawyer's not interested in the case. But if what I tell my clients, if I'm not interested in a case for whatever reason, I'm too busy or I don't like it, seek another opinion. I'm not the be-all and end-all for legal advice. Seek another opinion.
Very important.
Somebody else will have a different view because I don't know everything.
I think you know everything, Keith.
Oh, good. Yes,
Well, let me go in this direction. Of course, attorneys understand very well how the judicial system works, and most lay people don't. So, what else do we need to know as lay persons about understanding how the court system works? Jury trials and settlement processes.
This is very important, Stacey. A small percentage of my cases end up in court. And when we end up in court, that means there's going to be a lawyer on the other side. And his or her job is to win for their client. So often, once a suit is filed, there'll be interrogatories, which are written questions to you that you have to answer under oath, truthfully. And then there'll be a deposition where a court reporter takes down everything you say, and the other side can question them. And we have the same right to do it to the other person, too. But what is very dangerous for my clients is people's memory are often not that good when it comes over years. They'll tend to exaggerate, or they'll leave details out, or they'll mix things up, and next thing you know, they're trying to make you out to be not a credible witness because you got this number of feet wrong, or you got the time of day wrong, or the color of the car wrong. Now, I know that people do forget things like that, but the other side will start hammering away and make you out to be someone who doesn't really have a good memory. So, therefore, if the case does go to court, it's so important, if it's a major case, keep a little diary. Keep some notes about what happened and how it happened.
Because you have to prove your case. The incumbent is upon you to prove your case, correct?
I'm the plaintiff. We have to prove by what's called a preponderance of the evidence, 51%, which is just a little bit more than 50. Remember, that's much different from a criminal case where it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. If we have a jury of usually 6 to 8 people, we have to convince them that we're right. So if you can't remember something, you don't look good. But if you take out your little diary and say, well, my memory's refreshed, I remember exactly how this happened. I wrote it down the same day, how it happened. So that's a good tool to have. But most people will forget things. If a deposition takes place 3 or 4 years later, they will forget details, and the other side will try to make you out to be an incredible witness because you couldn't remember. They won't call you a liar, but that's what they're suggesting.
Absolutely. What else should people... Let's take a quick break, Attorney Watters, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
1450 WOL, where information is power.
Hi, my name is Stanley, and I've been arrested for stealing shoes. I didn't really steal them, but I've been sent to Camp Green Lake anyway. The worst punishment a kid could get. And at Camp Green Lake, we dig holes. Lots of holes. I've only been here a short time, but I think the camp director is up to something. I'm Stanley Yelnats, and I'm covering more than dirt at Camp Green Lake. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Holes by Lewis Sacker. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it. You could junk it. Or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-943-1356. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It'll be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a non-profit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-943-1356. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now. 1-800-943-1356. That's 1-800-943-1356.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. I feel like I'm choking. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or owe the IRS or state more than $10,000? If you don't take action now, your tax problem is going to get worse, much worse. Seizure of property, bank levies, wage garnishments, and potential criminal prosecution. And if you owe the IRS back payroll taxes, chances are you will be visited at your home or business by an IRS agent. Don't become paralyzed by fear. Take action now. Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield for help. Our team of experienced tax attorneys can get you protected, stop collections, and negotiate a permanent settlement with the IRS and state, potentially saving you thousands of dollars. At U.S. Tax Shield, our tax advisors will review your case for free, inform you of your rights, and give you a guaranteed quote. No games and no tricky upsells. That's why we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Put an end to your torment. Get protected. Get the Shield. Call U.S. Tax Shield now at 800-656-9393. That's 800-656-9393. 800-656-9393.
Elevate your mind. Elevate your spirit at Elevate.com. Discover keys to improve your finances, health and fitness tips, and daily articles to uplift your spirits throughout your day. Build yourself for better living. Enter into serenity. Experience growth. It is all here at Elevate.com. Visit www.elev8.com today. Elevate.com, empowering you.
News Talk 1450 WOLAM, where information is power.
Welcome back. This is Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. This is Stacy Royster, executive producer, and I'm serving as your guest host today. We're speaking with personal injury expert, attorney Keith Watters, and he has shared just a wealth of information already about personal injury law, various aspects from automobile accidents to slip and falls to police assault cases, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. So, Keith, thank you. As we continue, I wanted to ask you to just double back and talk about any specific tips related to police assault cases, and if there's anything people should be doing or not doing that you want to just advise our listeners of.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. But also, let me preface this by this. When you're searching for an attorney, you should always try to find an attorney who's advertising for that particular kind of case, because you can talk to one attorney who may not be that well versed in that area, and he or she may dissuade you from their response. So you always have to match your type of case up to what that attorney does. I'm very aggressive. If I think I can make a case that your rights have been violated, I'll do it. But not everybody thinks that way. So if you I would call 2 or 3 attorneys before you gave up if you were searching your case. On a police assault case, there are a lot of elements that are happening at once. Often you'll be charged with a crime, and often it can escalate into a situation where it creates bodily harm for you. The police have a difficult job to do. They're not automatically wrong, but there are times when the police use excessive force to, as we've seen in the national media these days, and can seriously hurt somebody. As a general rule, I would not try to confront the police on the street or in the car or at a home. As a general rule, you should follow their directions. If they are falsely arresting you, I would be quiet, seek a lawyer, and you'll have your chance in a neutral setting where bodily harm can't come to you. And it's where there are witnesses such as a lawyer, and there'll be a judge. So don't try to resolve your case in the street, so to speak, with the police. If the police have falsely arrested you or used excessive force, obviously you should try to cooperate as much as you can, and then immediately write down what happened to you, try to see if there are any witnesses, and seek legal counsel. If you've been charged with a crime in D.C., within 24 hours you'll be in court, and a lawyer will be appointed to you. Remember, that lawyer is a criminal lawyer. He's there to protect your liberty. Where a civil lawyer like myself, I'm there to get damages. That's the only thing I can do for you, is get damages. And that is for your personal injury if you were injured or falsely accused or falsely arrested. These things happen, and it's unfortunate. I would say that sometimes people lose their temper, police officers lose their temper, otherwise good people, because they're dealing with difficult situations, and they can sometimes get out of hand. And so I think we as a society all need to take a step back And remember, the police have a difficult job to do. But on the other hand, they need to respect the rights of the citizens, because if they use excessive force, you're the one who's dead. You're the one who's seriously injured. And so I would urge people to avoid any confrontations with the police if all possible. Follow their directions. If they've done something wrong, call for legal assistance. If you don't want to pursue that route, you can file a complaint against the police officers and ask for investigations through the Department of Internal Affairs for the city. Did I answer that question?
Yes, I think so. And then I think just some other practical reminders related to that, such as, again, take pictures, get the badge numbers. What else should they be doing?
If you can do that, it presents a difficult situation, Stacy, because often you're restrained. You'll be in handcuffs, or you'll be face down on the ground. True. So those types of situations are difficult. If you have friends there who are observing it, but it's not impossible. Obviously, you should seek medical treatment as soon as possible. If you've been injured, that will document the nature and extent of your injuries.
Can you call for a captain or a white shirt, as they call it?
You really have to be careful. Mm-hmm. You don't have a whole lot if you're physically restrained that you can do. Mm-hmm. You have a right to call for a lawyer, but while it's happening in real time, they're going to be restraining you and arresting you. So it's much different from an auto accident or a slip and fall where your liberty has not been restrained. You are pretty much at their mercy if they're falsely arresting you or using excessive force. You should fight back. You should obviously submit and then seek legal counsel once you're in a position to do so.
Understood.
I mean, if you can see names, fine, but I would not advise getting into further confrontation with the police while it's happening. They have to write reports. We'll be able to figure out who they were. If you're arrested, we'll be able to figure out who they were. But what happens with police, when you confront them, they generally escalate it to show that they're in charge. So if you ask them for a name, they'll often push back.
Right.
And this give and take, this pushback can lead to serious bodily injury for yourself. And I'd rather be alive than be dead with a case against the police. So I would use extreme caution when dealing with the police, especially if you're the one that was the target of a false arrest or excessive force. I would try to submit to the situation until you can get to a neutral setting, such as a courtroom, a jail, or a lawyer's office, or a medical facility. I would not confront the police.
Thank you so much, Keith. We have about 30 seconds left for this particular segment of the show. As we close, are there any final reminders or tips or thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I think we've said it. If you may have a case and you don't even know it. People from different backgrounds and different places have different experiences. So call a lawyer. If you're a victim of a crime, I've had people shot at their apartments who've made substantial recoveries, people raped in their apartments who've made recoveries. So you may not even know you have a case till you call a lawyer.
Thank you so much, Attorney Keith Watters. You were fantastic. We look forward to having you back again soon. To our listeners, if you have questions or if you would like a consultation with Attorney Keith Watters, you may